Kyle Glazer coming to you from Fenway Park. We're here with Red Sox starter Rick Porcello. Before Rick was a Major League pitcher, though, he was a standout at Seton Hall Prep in New Jersey. Rick, before your senior year, you got invited to participate in the area code games. What do you remember most from that experience?
I remember kind of thinking about how I was going to match up with kids from Florida and California and Texas, and being from the Northeast, you always think that they have an advantage because they get to play outside a little bit longer than you do, and those sort of things. And it's always kind of, it can be a little intimidating because you just, you tend to think that they're going to be that much further ahead of you development-wise or whatever it is. And I just was always curious to see how much better or how I matched up talent level-wise against them. And the area code games was probably the first place that I found out, how I'd do against that competition.
So you step out, you've got wall-to-wall scouts at Long Beach. Were there any nerves, being on a stage just that big with that many guys?
I think initially there was, but you meet some other guys. I met Matt Harvey and a couple other guys, and we actually ended up going to a bunch of tournaments that summer together. And you kind of develop a friendship, and you go through it together. And it kind of gets better the more you get acclimated to the attention and the scouts and all that sort of thing. That kind of wears off, and you just have fun with it.
Who were some of the guys you really remember, along with Matt Harvey, seeing, playing against, being excited to maybe, see in person after maybe hearing about?
Yeah, Jason Hayward was definitely a big name in high school, and I remember watching him hit and watching his swing, and how quick and compact it was, and was really impressed. Freddie Freeman was another guy, seeing him, and his power and his ability to hit, at that young of an age was pretty impressive. And I remember seeing a lot of guys with really, really good arms and good breaking balls and stuff, and there's a lot of really good talent coming out of high school, and then it kind of turns into the battle of who can stay healthy and kind of apply that into pro ball. But there's always good arms, and I just remember being impressed by everybody. Really, not a whole lot of things that felt like you could separate yourself from other guys. I mean, everybody threw hard, and everybody could hit. So it was eye-opening.
You mentioned wanting to see how you stacked up against those guys. That experience, did it help you realize that, you were and what the level you were at was?
Yeah, I think, when I got out there and got on the mound and, saw how I matched up against some of those guys and was effective, and, velocity and things that, are a big deal for, scouting events like that. And saw kind of how I stacked up. I felt, very confident that I was, just as good and could compete at that level.
Now, would you have any specific memories, specific pitch, a specific guy you maybe faced, from those games?
From the area code games, I remember facing Freddie, and he got a base hit off me, and I was like, when you're in high school and you throw hard, not too many guys get hits off you, and I think it was like a second pitch fastball. He hit a line drive back up the middle, and it was kind of, like, that guy's pretty good, So you remember certain guys, and the matchups, it turns into something different. You're not going out there dominating, guys in your own high school league. These guys can play too, and, it was fun competing at that level.
You mentioned from a pitching perspective, I think a lot of guys go out there and just try and light up the radar gun. Was your mindset was it based on velocity, or were you really trying to show that you were a complete pitcher?
Yeah, at that time I was definitely trying to light up the radar gun. You go out there and a lot of these events you have 1 inning or 2 innings at the most to throw, and you don't really get a chance to feature everything that you have as far as breaking balls and really, like, your pitch ability and that sort of thing. So it's, when you got 15 or 20 pitches, you're going to basically give it everything you have for those 15 or 20 pitches, and that's the impression that you get going into that, is that scouts are looking for guys that are throwing hard, so that's what you try and do.
Now, as the week's winding down, did you notice more people paying attention to you? You were getting some more interest, anything like that, as opposed to maybe beginning of the week when scouts are just seeing guys for the first time?
I think a little bit. I think I definitely, I think I definitely made an impression in my first couple of days, and I noticed that I had some interest from professional scouts, and I think by that time I'd already committed to North Carolina. So, I was pretty comfortable with where I was at, and I recognized the attention, but it wasn't something that consumed me. I was excited to go to North Carolina, and then whatever happened on the professional side of things was, that was out of my control, and that would take care of itself. So.
You go back, obviously, after that, hit your senior season. Did you notice more scouts in attendance, more attention being paid to you after that, during that senior year?
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with that summer and the area code games, and the attention that I got from there, and I threw the ball well, so there was definitely much more attention my senior year, and I remember my high school coach, he actually put a tarp up on our backstop so that there couldn't be 30, 40 scouts sitting behind there with radar guns. That you could only have one radar gun back there, and a guy would relay velocities because he didn't want it to be a distraction. And we had a really competitive team, and the challenge was balancing all that, the attention and also us trying to win a state championship.
Now, looking back on it, would you say that experience, the area code games, was that one of your first experiences, on that national showcase that helped you understand, the level needed to compete against the true highest levels?
Yeah, absolutely. That was, my first experience playing against all these guys that I was reading about in Baseball America and those sort of things, and that was kind of my gauge on how I fared with those guys, and I felt confident coming out of it and was able to build off of that.
Yeah, you mentioned, did you feel that confidence boost, like, okay, I am at this level, I can do this?
Yeah, absolutely. You never know until you get out there, and then you get out there and you compete with what you have, and I felt like I did pretty well, and was getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people liked what they saw, so that kind of feeds your confidence level too.
It's been about 10 years now since you participated. What would be your message to the kids today who are coming in, specifically the pitchers, who are now being selected to participate in the area code games?
Yeah, I'd say, have fun with it, enjoy it, because you're only going to get that summer and events like that. You're only going to get to do that once, and it is a lot of fun meeting all the kids around the country that you're getting matched up against, and all the rankings and stuff, and the guys that the #1 player that's ranked and all that sort of thing, and it's fun to compete against those guys. And you're not going to have another opportunity unless you get into pro ball or in college to play against that caliber of talent at that age. So enjoy it. It's really a lot of fun, and the attention comes with it, and it's all good stuff.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining us. Kyle Glazer for Baseball America. Thanks for tuning in, folks.